First, thank you so much for taking the time this morning. It's great to have you all here. Makes it a little easier for us, and I hope a little easier for you. So we are at your disposal. Where would you like to start?
So what now?
Well, we have been, concurrently, as we've been waiting for the decision that was rendered yesterday by the Montana Supreme Court, we have been actively engaged in making sure that our financing was in place, that we had a transition team working, that we understood where we were in terms of some management issues, some software issues. We are ready to go. We need to have some conversations internally about the technicalities of final order of condemnation and motion to take possession. Our intention is to do that as quickly as we can.
Meaning timeline would potentially what?
I'll let Dale knows more about the transitional piece than I do.
Well, I think we'll be ready to provide a motion to take possession in the next several days. Of course, and that'll be a court process, so the defendants will have an opportunity to respond, and the judge would provide an order at that point. And you know, this is a little different than the standard condemnation, where you know it's we have to have an orderly transition. You know, I think on the tops of our minds and I'm sure the tops of Mountain Water's minds is, you know, the continued delivery of safe, clean water to the citizens of Missoula. So, you know, we want to make sure to cooperatively work together to make that happen.
What are the odds of an appeal here? I mean, could it be appealed anywhere?
Technically, the defendants have the opportunity to file a writ with the United States Supreme Court. That's a decision that they'll have to make. The statistical chances of the United States Supreme Court accepting that appeal are very low, but it is their right to potentially do that.
If they do that, how long would that delay the process that the Mayor's talking about?
Well, unless there's a stay, we would simply continue to take possession based on the actions of the Montana Supreme Court and the District Court here in Missoula.
Now, what about the financing? That's something that obviously you've been working on.
Right.
The $88 million still the asking price?
$88.6 million is the price that was determined by the Valuation Commission, so that is a court order. We have financing in place to not only pay that bill, but to round up operating capital. We'll be able to be in business almost immediately. Our bank was waiting for the decision from the Montana Supreme Court, and with that decision, they're ready to write a check.
Have you recalculated what rates might be?
We haven't done any recalculation, Kayla. All of our models suggest that we are in a position to purchase service debt and operate at current rates. As I've long said, rates are going to go up at some point, but they'll go up more slowly than they would under private ownership, and all of that money will be reinvested in the system rather than siphoned off to shareholders a long way away.
John, what kind of reassurances can you give? Because, you know, there's still that undercurrent out there. Some people, oh my gosh, what did we get into, and those kind of things. Obviously, this sets us on a course for certain now. But what can you say to reassure folks that may still look at this as like, what are we getting into?
Well, we believe and have long held that that public ownership of monopoly utilities that provide essential services like water are best left in the hands of the public, folks who live locally, who rely on those services and have a stake in it. We have now an elected board of directors who have experience running a utility, in our case wastewater, and we have a bunch of employees at Mountain Water who we really hope come join us and continue the work they've done. I have never had a problem with Mountain Water employees. I have had a problem with corporate ownership from a long way away. Folks who don't have the best interests of the community in mind, and long after I'm gone, there will be elected officials here, folks chosen by the citizens of Missoula to run this thing, and I think that's the best ownership there can be.
Something else about the employees, how do you court them, and who stays, who may not stay? How does that process play out? How do you need to run the system?
Sure. So employees continue to be represented by council. Our conversations with employees council have been, I think, productive and cooperative. I hope that this decision helps those folks make some more decisions about what they'd like to do. We have been consistent. We want those folks to come work with us at the city and continue to do the work that they've done. Again, this is, I'm no expert in running a water company. I'm almost a lawyer now, though, I think. I don't know if I could pass the bar, but we need those folks to help us run a system, and we know that they can do it.
Including Mr. Kappas?
You know, we don't know about Mr. Kappas today. We're gonna have to have some conversations,
Why?
because we haven't had a direct conversation with him.
Do you want him?
I think we wanna talk with him. We'll have to see if he wants us.
The $10 million that has been spent to make all this happen, how is that going to be? Is that going to be folded into the rates or folded into the loan or what?
Correct, yeah. So all of the expenses today involved in financing this acquisition will be folded into the utility. Our models have accounted for that, and even with those costs, which are still a little bit up in the air based on, we're waiting for the court to rule